holding a woman at gunpoint.
Yeah, a standoff began with police after that woman managed to escape. It happened at 6 o'clock this morning at an apartment complex on Medical Drive and I-10. Police say the suspect invited two people to his house for a party. During that party, they say the suspect shot the man and then held the woman at gunpoint for over 2 hours, threatening to shoot her. She was eventually able to escape and call police for help.
He held her at gunpoint for quite some time. She eventually escaped, called us, we made a location, and we were having a little standoff with him for a little bit.
When officers got there, they surrounded the apartment with the armed suspect still inside. After negotiations, he eventually gave up and surrendered. They did find that shooting victim dead inside. Police are still trying to figure out a motive, but they did say the suspect knew those victims. San Antonio police are still investigating a stabbing on the city's southeast side. This happened at 3:20 this morning in the 4600 block of South Hackberry Street. Authorities say a man and woman were talking when the two began to argue. That's when the woman allegedly pulled a knife and stabbed the man in the arm. When emergency crews got there, they took him to BAMC. The woman told police she attacked the man because she was scared for her life, but the man is telling a different story. It's unclear what the connection is between the two, but the woman could face serious charges after being questioned by detectives.
It was a busy night for San Antonio firefighters battling two separate fires on different sides of town. That first one started right before 1 o'clock this morning over in the 600 block of Comal Street between I-10 and Alazan Creek. Firefighters got there very quickly and found a vacant home up in flames. They were able to get those flames out pretty fast. There were no injuries reported. Arson investigators now trying to figure out how that fire started.
And now to that second fire overnight where a home's entrance was blocked by flames. This happened at 12:44 a.m. in the 1700 block of Shelley Avenue. Fire crews got there to find smoke pouring from the front of the house. Firefighters quickly put that fire out, stopping it before it spread to the attic. Two people were inside the house at the time, but they were able to make it out safely. Investigators still working to figure out how it started.
Well, after celebrating all week long and highlighting our South Texas heritage and history, Fiesta is officially coming to an end. Alyssa Cole introduces us to one San Antonio couple using their artistic talents to continue capturing the colorful culture of San Antonio.
Meet Caroline and William Carrington. They've been creating Western art for years. William, who is a former teacher, was inspired by his wife, Caroline, who's a professional artist with more than 20 years of experience.
We need art for sure. It brightens up life and makes things interesting. It tells history. Without art, things are bland.
The two San Antonio natives recently participated in the Bristol Western Art Museum's Night of Artists, a fundraiser where 300 artists from across the country showcased landscapes, portraits, and sculptures, and much more.
It's not typical Western art. It's not just the Cowboys. It's not all the Indians and the history. It's also very present. It's happening right now. I feel very contemporary. I feel like I'm living the Western art life that I want to lead.
The couple is inspired by nature and folklore tales of South Texas as muses to tell their stories.
My inspiration probably is kind of humor, obviously, and kind of an admiration for wildlife, the Texas wildlife. I always say that the jackrabbit, the poor things are just constantly getting attacked. You know, land, sea, and air, so to speak. Hawks, eagles, snakes, everything's trying to get them. So they're all they do every day is figure out how to stay alive.
Caroline Williams and all the artists' work add a personal and unique touch. In Williams' case, it's almost as if he has an empathetic eye for the jackrabbit and uses it as inspiration.
They each have their own style, and you start to identify them, and the vibrancy in these pictures and how it captures the light. It is truly something that you have to come and see for yourself.
You're invited to visit because for one day only, the Bristol Western Arts Museum will allow the public to view the last day of this exhibition for free. It's part of their Locals Day initiative to engage the community. It's this upcoming Sunday, May 7th. Alyssa Cole, KSAT 12 News.
News across Texas, a national manhunt enters its second day for the suspect who shot and killed 5 people, including an 8-year-old child, inside a home in Cleveland, Texas, outside of Houston.
ABC's Jacqueline Lee on how multiple agencies, including the FBI, are involved in the search for 39-year-old Francisco Oropeza. And authorities say he is believed to be armed and dangerous.
The FBI taking the lead in a massive manhunt for Francisco Oropeza, accused of a brutal massacre inside a neighbor's home.
The FBI has brought in investigative resources, tactical and victim services resources to assist in this investigation.
Oropeza allegedly gunned down 5 people, including an 8-year-old child, inside their Cleveland, Texas home in what officials say may have been a neighbor dispute. Authorities say it all started Friday night around 11:30 p.m. when neighbors approached the 39-year-old asking him to stop firing his weapon from his porch.
One of the victims came out of the house and said, "Hey, we have a small baby that's trying to sleep," and the man said, "I'll shoot out in my front yard, do what I want to in my own residence."
Police believe that's when Oropeza, who they say was intoxicated, became agitated and allegedly walked over to the house and opened fire. Police say there were a total of 10 people inside, all from Honduras. Deputies reporting 2 of the women found shot were each laying on a child. Those 2 children survived the massacre. Neighbors describe the area as a tight-knit community and are shocked by this tragedy, but they say gunfire is not uncommon.
Shooting guns off when we're this close to each other with people having families, it doesn't work. We've contacted the police. It sounds like a war zone in here on the weekends.
Authorities believe they have the weapon used in the attack, a .223 rifle, but do not know if Oropeza is carrying a different weapon.
We consider him armed and dangerous, and we're not going to stop until we actually arrest him and bring him into custody.
Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, New York.
Still ahead on the news at 5:30, Elon Musk not giving up easily when it comes to space exploration, when he plans on relaunching his Starship rocket after his last launch ended in an explosion.
And Homeland Security says migrant centers on the border are at max capacity, and it could only get worse. How the end to a COVID era restriction could increase the number of migrants trying to enter the country.
Well, the Department of Homeland Security says the border detention facilities along the U.S. and Mexico borderline are above capacity. A growing number of migrants are coming into the country. Some experts saying it's because of the COVID-era border restriction Title 42 is set to end on May 11th. U.S. Customs and Border Protection estimate there are currently 20,000 migrants in custody. Title 42 allows Border Patrol agents to send migrants back to Mexico, but that is expected to change in the next couple of weeks.
SpaceX founder Elon Musk says his Starship rocket could attempt another test flight in as soon as 6 to 8 weeks. 9 days ago, SpaceX, you might recall, attempted to launch a capsule with the Starship rocket into space, but when it was supposed to separate from the rocket booster 3 minutes into flight, it instead blew up. The Federal Aviation Administration is investigating to try to figure out what happened, which could take months to complete. Musk, though, remains optimistic and said the test flight exceeded his expectations, even though it ended in a big blow-up. A fiery ball.
All right, back here at home, taking a look outside with live cam. Absolutely beautiful out there this Sunday evening. Blue skies, plenty of sunshine. That's been the big theme today, and also much warmer temperatures than what we saw yesterday. For context, we were in the upper 70s yesterday afternoon. This afternoon, upper 80s, so about 10 to even 15 degrees warmer in spots. Now, as we head into the first day of May tomorrow, still unseasonably warm conditions continue, but by Tuesday morning, the humidity starts to build, and then we're monitoring for a few isolated storm chances that return by late weeks. We'll get you all those details coming up after the break.
It got warm real quick out there today, but still gorgeous.
It really was. I mean, especially after yesterday when it wasn't too hot.
Right.
I feel like we got the best weather yesterday. I didn't even care what happened today.
It was so perfect for Flambeau, especially after the sun went down. We still had a little breeze out there and low humidity. Yesterday was pretty perfect for those Fiesta festivities. Today, it was chilly out there this morning. You needed the jacket out there, but then by lunchtime, yes, those temperatures quickly were able to rise. We've seen nothing but sunshine today. It's been gorgeous, but yes, just a little toasty out there. You can see as of this 5 p.m. hour, we are in the upper 80s here in San Antonio, 87 degrees right now, and not quite as windy as what we saw yesterday, but still we've seen a few wind gusts, generally upwards of about 20 to even 25 miles per hour at times. 88 in Bulverde this hour, same over in Converse. Low 90s though for places like Divine, Hondo, Uvalde, Pleasanton checking in at 90 degrees. 88 in Rio Medina. It's currently 84 up in Bernie. The key here is that we still have low humidity in place, so drier air is able to cool down pretty efficiently through the overnight hours, which is why it was chilly out there this morning. But on the flip side of that, it also warms up very effectively into the afternoon. So that's why we have seen a pretty big temperature swing from one side of the day to the other. Those dew points, how we measure the moisture in the low levels of the atmosphere, still in the 30s and 40s. So comfortable to step out to, and it will be, especially as things cool down just a little bit heading into any Sunday evening plans. Still in the 80s by 7 p.m. Clear skies expected. We'll see those thermometers fall into the 70s after the sun goes down. Speaking of which, through the overnight, we will see those thermometers bottom out in the mid 50s by wake up time Monday morning. So still a cool start as we get ready to kick off the first day of May tomorrow, around 56 by 7 a.m. here in town, 57 in Floresville, 56 in Canyon Lake, and 57 stretching over to Sabinal. We are expecting mostly sunny skies, especially throughout the first half of the day, but one little cosmetic change that I think you'll notice, especially by Monday afternoon, some high clouds will start to filter in from the west. Still, though, I do think temperatures should manage to climb into the mid to upper 80s out there. You can see around 88 degrees is that forecast high here in town, 86 in Bulverde, 88 in Floresville, even some low 90s possible, especially the farther south and west that you go. Still holding on to some pleasant dew points tomorrow as well. But as we head into Monday night and especially by Tuesday morning, you're going to notice more of that muggy feel when you do step outdoors. Those south winds in place opens the door for more Gulf moisture to work its way back into the area. So along with that, our morning temperatures are going to start to climb, not going to be as cool as what we're expecting to find out there tomorrow. In the 60s Tuesday and into Wednesday, more cloud cover returns. That should hold afternoon temperatures to the low 80s, but more muggy out there. And also because of those increasing humidity values, some areas of patchy fog will be possible as early as the Tuesday morning drive. You can see that right here on our future cast. Then we monitor for some storm chances that move in really as early as Thursday. I think there's a high pressure system that's going to set up off to our south. Some disturbances riding around the western edge of that high pressure could be enough to spark a couple of storms up by Thursday, especially Thursday evening. That's when we're looking at our next scattered chance for a couple of strong thunderstorms. So we'll keep tabs on that. Definitely something to check back in on in the coming days, guys.
So interesting that they're 50s in the morning and then all the way up to 88.
Exactly. It's that dry air.
Yep.
Does wonders.
Thanks.
Take a little rain every week. We'll take it as soon as we can get it. All right. It's pretty common to see NFL players get very emotional when they get drafted to a team, but it's not very common that the person who calls that player is just as emotional, maybe even more emotional.
That's right. And we're talking about Deuce Vaughn, the Kansas State running back that was drafted by the Cowboys. His father is a Cowboys scout, and he made the call yesterday. When we come back, last night, or I should say early this morning, we heard from Jerry Jones and Deuce. But what about the father? Plus, the Roadrunners go for the series win in UAB. Got that too next.
There's his dad on the line. That's awesome. Look at him. Look how emotional he is.
That's amazing.
Can you imagine you spend your whole life in football and your son is drafted to your team?
Man, that is awesome.
I mean, over the past 21 years of my life, he's been there for me, and to see him react the way that he did, man, I'm not going to lie, it was a tearjerker.
Have you made a better phone call?
No. Best one I've ever made. It's the best one I've made. You know, I told somebody, he's the hardest worker I know. I just happen to be his dad.
Yesterday was special for the Vaughn family and the Cowboys in Big Board Sports.
Pro football coverage. Powered by Davis Law Firm.
The Cowboys entered this year's draft with 1 pick in each round and largely stood pat while the rest of the league went crazy with trades around them. The only move they made came on the final day when they traded up into the high 6th round to select Southern Miss cornerback Eric Scott Jr. Aside from that, the headliner this year is still 26th overall Mozzie Smith, who arrived at the Star less than 24 hours after he was selected in Kansas City. Smith was already had a chance to talk with some of the boys, including Osa Odigizua and defensive coordinator Dan Quinn.
Osa told me, he said, you know, this is a defense that you can thrive in, that's meant for us to thrive, and we're going to have fun. You know, he texted me, he told me, you know, it's a brotherhood already. And then with Coach DQ, you know, he said they just got a plan for me. They value what I do, and they want me to be myself, and they don't want me to be nothing else. So, you know, and I appreciate that. You know, I'm just happy to be valued.
The best story of the draft, though, has to be the Cowboys drafting Kansas State running back Deuce Vaughn, 212th overall in the 6th round. Deuce is the son of Chris Vaughn, a scout who works for the Cowboys. Last night we heard from Jerry Jones and Deuce, but what was it like for the father to realize his son was being drafted by Dallas?
The powers that be did a great job of keeping it a secret. They had a little meeting off to the side, and I had some other responsibilities, so I wasn't there for those conversations. Organically, I wasn't there, so I didn't think, you know, all of a sudden they're not around or anything like that. So the surprise that you see on tape is really surprised because it wasn't registering, and then so when it did, you know, all the emotions came out, you know, at that point.
Of course, Chris and Deuce aren't the only father-son duo working with the Cowboys. Jerry was asked if he had any advice on how to work professionally with your own son.
I'm going to paraphrase a father's prayer. And prayer is, don't let me be a bully because I can be, because he loves me. That parent thing and that relationship right there is precious, and it's not perfect at all, but I'd say this, Deuce and Chris, that boy's outstanding. He's outstanding in many, many ways. And so I'd be careful criticizing Chris about how to be a daddy.
Now, on the flip side of the draft coin, the Houston Texans only remained in their designated draft slot twice, with the 2nd overall pick and the 201st overall pick. Nick Caserio organized a whopping 8 trades, maneuvering picks to get the right guys into the Texans facility. The biggest, of course, was 3rd overall pick Will Anderson Jr., who was introduced to H-Town alongside 2nd overall selection C.J. Stroud on Friday. The moves that Caserio made got some praise from the new guys, and it led to a funny moment at the introductory press conference.
Man, I was super excited. We were with each other in Texas a couple days ago, shooting a video, and man, we just were like, man, what if we were teammates? And man, now we are. So man, shout out to Nick. You did a great job. Yeah. Nobody been asking Nick questions, man.
Just play well, man. That's all. Just play well.
Yeah, y'all got to show Nick some love, man. He the one who made it shake. So
they've heard enough from me for a long time. They just want to hear from you.
No, we're gonna give you your flowers for sure.
Texas A&M cornerback and Steel alum Jalen Jones also heard his name called over the weekend. He was drafted 221st overall by the Indianapolis Colts in the 7th round. Jones talked with the Indy media for the first time yesterday and was asked what players he models his game after.
I look at guys like Jalen Ramsey, Marlon Humphrey, you know, guys like that, man. Just watch how aggressive they be at the line, you know, messing up routes from the get-go. You know, man, just all the assets to my game. I just feel like I'm a long, rangy corner, very physical, man. You know, get to the ball, and man, just I'm very, very intelligent, man. Just you know, slowing the game out for myself, seeing what it looks like, seeing what it's for, man. Just attacking and bringing 110% every day. So that's the type of player you get in Indianapolis.
Jones is now one of 4 Steel Knights currently active in the NFL. Nationally ranked UTSA baseball goes for the series win this afternoon against UAB. Picked this one up in the top of the 4th, but the game tied at 2. Sammy Diaz drives a base hit into right. Matt King comes home from 3rd to give the Roadrunners a 3-2 lead in a back-and-forth early few innings. But UTSA takes a 7-3 lead in the top of the 5th with a 4-run frame, and they rack up 10 hits to pull away late. Roadrunners take it 9-4, improving to 33-11 on the season. They will return home to start a 7-game homestand against Sam Houston on Tuesday night. Guys, they are 5 wins away from equaling their mark from last year, and that was already one of the best seasons in program history.
Best of luck to the Birds. Thank you, Andrew.
You got it.
We'll be right back after this.
We had an awful long night. We were here until this morning. But we can tell you that for certain we will be on time tonight at 10 o'clock on the night beat.
You have no excuse. We'll see you then.
We're going to catch a nap in between, though. We'll see you then.
I wish.